All right, so today what we're going to do, as we discussed in a previous video, is we're going to plant garlic. The date is the first weekend of October, so we should be getting freezing temperatures here pretty soon. You want to get these in. The recommendation is usually a little bit before you get really freezing temperatures, so that before the ground freezes solid. And what we're going to plant today is, I don't really know how to pronounce this, chestnut, red seed garlic, and then German extra hardy. Both of these are hardneck type garlics, and they both do well in our zone. So we should be able to get a good harvest out of these. I ordered them from Hudson Valley Seed Company, but you can get your garlic sets from wherever. Basically what we're gonna do is we are gonna go through this row right here first. We're going to space the garlic sets 6 inches from each other, and basically the way that we'll do that is we'll do it a stepped approach, right? I'll show that a little bit here. But yeah, so we'll be planting the garlic sets about 3 inches down and about 6 inches apart. So what I'll do is I'll go space them out, put them on the ground, get everything set, show you what it looks like, and then I'll dig them in, cover them up, and then when we're done covering them, we will rake this leftover spent straw on top of them, and then I'll put more straw onto the top of them as well, because we want to protect them through the winter. They don't really need a ton of protection, right? They are hardy through the cold here, but it's still a good idea if we can put more down to cover it up. All right, I'm gonna go get started digging these or setting these sets out, and then I'll show you what it looks like before we start digging. Okay, so for planting garlic, here's how I kind of go about it. As you can see, I've placed some of the bulbs on the ground here. And what I do is I go through, I will open the bulbs up. I'll peel this to get all the cloves out, just like you would do in the grocery store. And then I just place them approximately a finger tip to thumb tip distance apart. That's a little more than 6 inches. I think it's about 8 inches. But, I just do that going up the row. So I'm going to do that and continue down. I've got a lot of space to go here. You can see I have, cloves just kind of strewn out down the row there. And as soon as those are, all planted, I will then move on to the next type. So yeah, just wanted to show you kind of how I do that. Okay, so just for anybody's knowledge, if you're buying seeds from Hudson Valley Seed Company, or probably other places as well, I purchased 1 pound bags. And just for everybody's knowledge, a 1 pound bag basically does exactly a full 30-foot row with this style planting. I went from end to end, had very little left over, maybe like 2 cloves that looked like they were kind of rotten, so I threw them away. But everything else, once again, planting on this offset, 6 to 8 inch offset here. And so basically what that ends up with, right, is that everything's about 8 inches apart. So I gave them a little more space than probably is necessary. I think that the recommendation is that you go at least 6 inches. So I gave them a little bit extra, but I think that's probably okay. I have personally not grown in, rows in the past. I've always done all of my gardening in raised beds. So determining how much seed or how much, garlic cloves or onion sets or whatever go into a row is something that's new to me. I did try to make these in 30-foot lengths because that seems to be a standard length. Yeah, and as you can see, it worked out very well. So a 30-foot row will get you fully planted if you buy 1 pound of seed or sets from any of your major garlic suppliers. Once again, I bought these from Hudson Valley Seed. So I'm gonna do the German extra hardy in this row. We've got the red one here, red, what is it, chestnut. Yeah, so those are all set. Basically what we're gonna do from this point on is we're gonna put them in the ground. So basically the way that's gonna work is we'll come along with our spade, move the one garlic out of the way, dig down about 2 inches. For me, that might be a little difficult because the soil underneath here is quite poor. But yeah, get that down under there and just cover it up. And then we're going to come back through when we're done, and we are going to cover the rest of it with the leftover straw that's on the sides here and new straw, of course, on top. So I'm going to go do that for this row and get the other row planted as well, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. All right, first row is all planted in. If you look down there, you can see the whole row is now, you can't see any more cloves because they're all under the ground there. What I'm going to do now is take the rake up all of this straw, put it on top, see how thick it is, and then see if I need to add more. I probably will. So let me do that and come back. Okay, as you can see, we've got the center row uncovered here. Scraped off most of the straw, the vast majority of it. Got it covered here. I don't think I'm going to need a ton more straw on that. There's probably a good 2, maybe 3 inches. Remember, that straw has already started to break down, so it's kind of compacted. Normally when you put straw down, you would put more because you expect it to compress. But this stuff's already somewhat compressed. So I'll probably put some more on here just because, it's not a bad idea to have extra. But I don't think we need a ton. I'm surprised at how much was still available to this. One thing I did find funny is as doing this, I found a pretty big red potato here that was missed during the harvest. So that's nice, a little extra find. Take that home. But yeah, got all this straw pulled off. Got the garlic covered up. I'm going to do the same thing in this row now with the German garlic. Get that done. One thing I would like to point out is when I got here today, I went hunting this morning, sitting up in the tree stand. Not a deer came by. I've been seeing deer on the cameras for months and months and months on end. Deer season started 2 days ago. Haven't seen a single one. Got here this afternoon. I have never seen a deer on the camera at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is currently 2:30 or something. Drove onto the lot. There was 2 deer standing out there. They looked like they were coming from this direction. Get over here, and one of those jerks got in here, started nibbling on my Hubbard squash. So looks like that Hubbard squash is definitely going to be picked. We were hoping to let it sit out here and go until the first hard frost came, or good frost came. But that one has now been gnawed upon. So I haven't seen deer eating squash in the past, but that one definitely was nibbled on. Didn't seem to care for the other 2 that are in there, or the other 3, because there's another one there. But I guess I'll just pick all 3 of these today, bring them home, let them finish ripen on the counter. This one we'll just have to eat pretty quickly, else it'll go bad. We also have a pumpkin that's just about ready here. It's starting to turn orange, so I'll probably pull that guy off too. Okay, let me put an update to the German ones. So these specific variety, or this specific variety, let me find the little paper here, is German extra hardy. The cloves on these guys are gigantic. I mean, these are just huge. So I hope that the garlic grows this big, because that would be amazing. But a problem that we're having with these is, first of all, you get way less cloves per pound. So remember, the red ones, we planted an entire 30-foot row with the red ones with 1 pound, because you get a lot of cloves per head of garlic. These ones, we got less than a half of a 30-foot row with the same spacing. So I think it's just that you get so many fewer cloves per head, right? Like so many fewer, at least half. One other thing is that they're really hard to get separated. When you pull them apart, from the clove, it feels like they're glued together. And a lot of them had, unfortunately, got some peeling going on there. So I don't know if you can make that out. But the paper kind of came off. I'm going to guess that this one will probably rot because the paper came off. I don't know for sure, but I would guess that's going to be the case, right? Maybe there's a way that I could have done that a little easier, but they were really stuck together. You kind of have to pull them apart, and you can see that there was not a small clove in the bunch. They are all absolutely ginormous. So I think that, pound for pound, these would be better if you get much bigger heads of garlic with huge cloves, right? Because you can grow more pounds per linear foot. If I could take a pound of these and grow, that whole linear foot, and get the same amount as I could get out of a pound of this here, assuming that they reproduce at the same rate or the same size that their seeds are, I should be able to get, 2 pounds of seed in here. And whatever the standard ratio is of seed to poundage, you could probably figure out and get more, right? These are just going to be much smaller heads, larger cloves. So we'll see. I kind of am excited for the size of them. I'm not so excited on the fact that a good number of them did have some peeling go on, so I'm afraid that some of those are just going to rot. 1 or 2 of them, the entire paper came off, and I just threw those out because there's just no way those are going to go in the ground and not rot. One thing I did find funny was 4 quite large potatoes somehow we missed, 3 purple ones and 1 red one. But yeah, so I'm going to get these put in the ground. I'm stopped here because, once again, I have no more seed to go past that. That was 1 pound right there. So if you're buying these German extra hardy, these guys are huge, and you may need to purchase more. I don't know if this was a one-off for the time, for the order that I got, but these guys are much, much larger. If I had ordered 2 pounds of the red, I would have been able to do 2 full 30-foot rows. But 2 pounds of these German extra hardy would have only done 1 row. So I don't know. Maybe somebody can comment in the comments below. Tell me, is this normal? I haven't grown these kinds of garlic before, so this is new to me. But if you have, does the German Hardneck extra hardy come so big usually? And do these, red ones come so average sized, right? The ones over here look just like regular grocery store kind of garlic. And these guys are, like I said, they're almost the size of elephant garlic. They are huge. So, kind of interesting to see what happens next year, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to get these guys put in the ground and covered up with the straw, and then show you what it looks like when we're done. Okay, so we're all done now. Like I said earlier, we got 1 30-foot row of the red garlic planted, and probably about 1/3, somewhere a little over 1/3 of a row of the German planted. So there was less straw on this row here. As you can see, we had started to put wood chips down on the row. That's our long-term goal, is to fill the rows with wood chips as we chip up stuff from the yard. So what I did is I raked that existing straw over, and then we had a bundle of straw that's been sitting over there most of the summer, already starting to break down. So I just took some of that and put it on top. I'll do the same over here. I'll probably wait for it to rain one time, see how it kind of flattens out, and then fill in where is necessary. The recommendation is usually to put 4 to 6 inches of straw on top. So when that compresses down, you'll probably have 2 to 3 inches. And because I'm using a good amount of previously compressed straw, it's already all wet and kind of starting to break down, I don't feel like I need to put a full 6 inches of the dry straw, that the equivalent's different. So for right now, we're going to call that done. I've also harvested those few squashes, threw them in the car. I'm going to leave the pumpkin for the night. Hopefully it makes it. I feel like any minute that I can get on the vine, getting it close to ripening is good. A pumpkin should be okay if we have a frost. If we have a hard freeze, of course, the pumpkin could get damaged, but we're not expected to have a hard freeze tonight, so I think I'll probably chance it and leave that. But I don't know, maybe I will grab it. Kind of going through it right now. Finally, I also picked out all of the beans that were left. I got about, 3/4 of a pound. So as I've mentioned in past videos, we have really exceeded my expectations with these beans. We have gotten way more than we could ever eat out of here. We also make our own dog food. If I can figure it out, if I can put a link up to the video, I'll put it right here, up on the top right of the screen. But if not, you can look through my old videos. We have a video about making our own dog food, and the beans do go in the dog food. So, not a single one of these beans will go to waste. We'll use it either for us to eat or put it in the dog food. Yeah, so once again, got all the garlic planted, 1 30-foot row plus a little more. 2 pounds of seed put in the ground. So hopefully next year we will have lots and lots of garlic. We'll do a follow-up video in the spring when they first start coming up, and then of course next summer when we harvest them. So planting garlic is a long-term commitment, right? This takes 10, 11 months before you get anything, maybe 9 months if you count the scapes. But yeah, so it takes a long time, but we will follow up on this and show you what it looks like when we're done, you know, when we harvest, just like we've done with everything else that we've put in here. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy this video, want to see more about our gardening adventures or our activities in preparing this land to build our house next year, yeah, keep following. You know, you can like the video. That helps us out. You can also subscribe and click the bell so that you get notifications when we put new videos out. We try to get one out once a week. All right, well, thanks again, and have a good one, everyone.